This Christmas decor is an angel, and we're going to attempt to use this Dollar Tree plastic tree form ice cream stick from Dollar Tree. Also, these are the broader ones that we're going to use. The smaller styrofoam balls, these are the 1.9, so basically a 2-inch styrofoam ball for the head of our angel, and our glue gun. The first thing we want to do is take all the trimmings off of this little tree. We need to unwrap this, so if you just look around, you'll see where they wrapped this form. And go ahead and remove all of these little plastic adornments. And I saved these because you may need them on another craft. Now, I've removed all the tinsel and wrapping from off of this tree. And they have the knobs. Now, these are a double frame. They come apart. My concern is when we go to put the popsicle sticks on there, if they're this way or we come out this way, we're going to be blocked by these knobs. And the only way I know to prevent that is to go ahead and take this frame apart and cut those knobs off and glue this frame together so that it stays firm and does not shift. It's just real easy. These just kind of have a latch hook down here, and it literally just comes apart that easy. I'm going to trim these knobs off. I can do that with my scissors, and then I will glue the form back together. The next thing we're going to need is to get our sticks out, and it looks at the halfway mark is what we're going to need for our tree. I'm basically going to put my stick about where I want it, and I'm going to mark that one and then cut all my others based on where it hits. So I will stack these, and then a really good sharp pair of scissors will keep the wood from busting whenever you cut them. So you want to make sure that you cut all of these at the same length. And I'm just going to draw a line across there and know that when I cut my sticks, that's where I need to cut them. And the ones that you cut to measure, put on the left, and the longer ones put on the right. That way you can trim those off. And I will give you guys a count as to how many pieces it takes to cover this tree as I glue these on, and that'll make it easier for you when you begin doing yours. You can also use the funnels from Dollar Tree to make this craft. I would think that it would be about the same idea if you're unable to find this tree form. And some of those sticks are going to cut up really good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this base with my burlap for two reasons. One, whenever you put these sticks on here, I fear that there's going to be a gap in between in some places because of the shape, and that way you don't see the green. And the second reason is when we get up to here, we've got to make her bottoms, and that way it's already covered, and it'll be a whole lot easier to glue the sticks to it and go over top of that. And any of these lumps, it'll take care of itself. So I have covered these areas that will, reflect the green with the burlap. Now the next thing I'm going to do for the bottoms up here is I'm going to take some polyfill, and I've got some scrap fabric here from a Dollar Tree scarf, and I know that this area up here I've took and eyeballed it, so it's about 1.5 inches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place polyfill in this and make me a pocket. I want to fold that. Now what I want that to be is her bottoms, and I'm just building it out. So I'm literally going to glue that. I'm going to leave it flat in the back and just crisscross it because wings will be back here. I'm not really worried about it. I will cover it with the fabric, but I'm not overly concerned. I just want that polyfill to be right here in the front where her bottoms would be. And my idea here is to make this bottoms come out over the wood pieces. So at this point, I'm just going to glue my first one into place, and just enough to atop of that stick to get it parked where you want it. And we want this to make sure it's straight, so make sure you do that first layer and get your stick as straight as possible. And then you'll probably continue to turn it so that you keep that stick straight, because one side of my tree leans. And when I got around to My last one, I had to trim the edges off of it. So if you are using the more narrow ice cream sticks, you probably will not have to cut none of it. But to make this one fit so that it sets in correctly and doesn't look awkward, and so far it's looking pretty good. So I'm glad that we did camouflage it with the burlap, because as you can see, even with them sitting next to each other, you still have this space where this comes out. Alright, and beginning the next layer, I am going to make some of them shorter and some of them longer to differentiate the front from the back. And I've chosen this as the front, a little bit shorter. So I went ahead and marked them the same as I did the first time. And I'll cut those and attach those. The next ones in the back and around the side will be a little bit longer, because it just really looks nice, and it will equal out my stick usage as well. Now I want to show you what I'm doing here. These are the shorter ones, and as you can see, I've let these come down further. And then when I've gotten up here to this last layer, I'm allowing these ones in the very front to overlap slightly. So they're at an angle and they're kind of overlapping each other. If you want to, you can actually trim that little corner if you feel like your bodice will cover it. But I'm just kind of letting mine overlap there. And I will put a little more extra glue in there once I get those there. But there will only be a few in this section. So just to show you what I'm doing here, because they're coming in one direction, and you might can work with it and see if you can have yours come in both directions, but it's only a short distance right here. So this front is only going to have 5 right here because they are actually overlapping. I did cut an extra one just in case, and that's simply okay, because the longer pieces will go around to the back area. So as that's looking, as you can see, I started the long one right here as these short and long came together. And so that's where the longest one, and here's the short. And so the short is actually going a tad bit further on this side. Now I've taken a 5-inch piece of cloth here, and I put some polyfill in it. And this is about 1.5 inches span if you take your index finger and your middle finger on each side. So basically that 3 inches, leaving a 2-inch area for polyfill. Now I'm going to glue that down across that top seam, because now I know that I've sized it up and it's pretty much where I need it. Now of course I'm going to cover this, but this is just so I can make my angel's bodice. Now this is going to slightly overhang the raw wood and come around to the back, and I'm going to glue that into place, and then I will actually cover this fabric. Now you don't have to use scrap fabric to begin with. You can use ribbon or anything of your choice, burlap, whichever you may, in order to make your angel. I just happen to have this and thought it might be easier for me to just wrap that around the body and glue it into place. That way I can make sure that I glue across this top edge when I put it across my wood. Okay, now if you're going to stain or natural seal this color or paint it or anything, right now is the time to do that before you finish out your bodice and your angel. Now as a final count, this pack has 60 sticks in it. I used approximately 22 sticks to go around all 3 layers. I am going to use the antique parchment to do my angel, and then I'm going to use the Waverly wax over top of it. As I said before, if you're going to put a finish on your angel, if you're going to antique it, or you can go with the clear wax on it, which would look absolutely beautiful, now is the time to do it. This is Apple Barrel, also a plaid company, and you guys know how I love plaid. You will find a link to my Amazon affiliate store in the description box down below. You will also find the Waverly in that store as well. Paint job that I'm doing on my angel is I'm not trying to be exact. I'm not trying to give solid coverage. I am hitting it and getting it. Just go with it. And that's what I want. I just really want her to look very prim and very rustic. I'm just trying to hit the wood and not try to coat the wood, almost like a wash. Now I'm making the wings for my angel, and I need 4 of these sticks. And if you see how I'm graduating those for the wings, because I can trim this part off, and I have my styrofoam ball painted, and I'm letting that dry. So just kind of lay them out and get them situated the way that you think they'll do. At least 4 so far. So you need 4 for the left and 4 for the right wing. And at this point, I think that's going to work out pretty good. Now to get these wings situated, I know that this part is where all these need to fall even with. So I'm going to glue a piece right there, and I'll trim off the difference. That way when I attach them to my angel, they'll sit where they're supposed to. Got this set, and then to make the right set to graduate, you'll need it to be going upward. Okay, so I have my wings made. I glued the piece and I trimmed off the difference. And now I'm going to just put my parchment on there. Okay, guys, I'm working on my angel's bodice. This is my burlap that I bought from the online fabric store. You will find the link in the Amazon affiliate link. This fabric. This is a continuous weave burlap. So this line is really long, and I'll show you. Basically, when it hits the nap here, if you pull it, it's going to continue. And when it gets to the other side, it's going to do the same thing. So when you get all the way here, back to the nap, it's going to, once again, when you pull it, see, it's a continuous weave. This is a more smooth, tighter weave burlap. You need some string. You can definitely obtain your jute twine through this burlap. So I'm going to cut it here because I want this fray, and when I put this around the bodice up here and glue it down, it's going to make it look like she's got a sweater. And so that's as far down as I want that to go, because her head will go up here. Alright, just wanted to share that with you guys in case you didn't know it did that, or you found it out by accident, so to speak. Now I begin assembling my angel. So I've got her sweater on, I've got her wings on, I've placed them back there, and you can kind of see how I did mine. And now it's time to place her head upon her, and she will be just beautiful. I'm absolutely tickled with her, guys. Okay, to complete my angel, I've got some of this berry garland, and I'm going to make her just a little halo. So our angel looks complete with her burlap bodice and her little berry garland wreath for her halo. And you could add so many things. You could do the greenery wreath, and you could even put some of the berries across her chest and give her like a vest if you wanted to. There's so many decorating ideas you can do with this angel. I just didn't feel that this Christmas would be complete, guys, without having an angel. There are angels among us. They walk among us every single day of our lives. Some as ghosts from people we love that have passed on, and some who are simply just there to offer a helping hand. Know that Elizabeth loves and adores you all. Thank you so much for coming along with me on making this primitive angel. Make one of your own. And I've tried to simplify this task as much as possible. So if you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure you read the comments and suggestion boxes because, well, my DIY team is the best and they're my angels. And consider subscribing to the channel. Become one of the team. Until the next DIY, I'll be crafting, y'all. Merry Christmas.